Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Free Flame Thoughts. For those who don't already know, my name is Silver T. Lining, and I'll be your host for tonight. Today's special guest goes by the name of Nancy Manning, and the topic of the hour is entitled Within the Healing Space. We're talking trauma, heartache, and letting go. So I'm now waiting to receive Nancy. Oh, bingo!
Hey. You know what it was? Let me tell you why I didn't see it come up, because for whatever reason, I don't know why it was showing that I wasn't following you when I know I started following you. So it
Girl,
wasn't popping up.
you following me? What's that about?
I'm following you now. I was like, what is going on? But yeah, so
Welcome,
that's the
Nancy.
deal.
Welcome to Free Flame
Thank
Thoughts.
you.
And before we
Thank
get
you.
into it, let me thank you in advance for sharing this moment with me and our viewers. We appreciate you in advance. Okay. So
Absolutely.
let's start by me asking you how your day has been.
Oh, fabulous. I got a great workout in this morning,
Oh,
putting myself first, you know, really doing the self-care thing, because I
I
can't really
love it.
start my day without putting myself first, because that's the
Good.
best way that I can be the best for anyone is by putting
Absolutely.
myself first. So that's what I did. It's been amazing. How about you?
Oh, I'm always on a roller coaster, girl. I'm about to jump off real soon.
Did you just get off of a call a minute ago? You just did another live?
Yeah, it's been one of those weeks, but you know what? As you progress in life, as you know, you are a transformation coach. You're going to be challenged, and I'm ready. My wings are ready, girl.
Absolutely.
So it's okay. Bring it on. So,
Absolutely.
so listen. For those who don't already know, this lovely lady here goes by the name of Nancy Manning, and we've entitled it Within the Healing Space because there's going to be so many things that and attributes that go back to just that realm.
Absolutely.
So, Nancy, let's also start with asking you, who is Nancy Manning?
Oh, wow. Who is Nancy?
No, I've got time. I'm chilling. I've got
Honestly, listen,
to
I'm probably in the best space. Not probably, I know that I'm in the best place that I've ever been in my life, because I am more organically, authentically
Right.
myself more than I've ever been in my life. And I think Nancy Manning has evolved on so many levels, from
So
the
who is
things that
she now? Tell us, because we don't know.
right
We don't know.
now
We want to know.
I am a soul that's on a journey. That's the only way I can explain myself, because I think we're all in that space. Nancy is here to empower. Nancy is here to do a lot of things, but who I am is a soul evolving, and I know
Mm,
that now. I'm loving every minute of it, because I stay very present with myself and
mm.
mindful of that, which allows me to extend grace to myself, because so many times we don't do that. So I am an evolving soul. I really am.
I love that. You know what I love about you, Reddy, is you're so passionate, and I'm super passionate. I can feel you. Oh, I feel the oh, girl,
Right?
yes, I
Yes.
love it. I love it. I love it. All right, so
Awesome.
Nancy,
Yes, girl. Bring it.
within within the healing space, where should we begin? Take me on the journey with you. I'm all in.
Oh, wow. Honestly, for myself, I've, of course, because I am an evolving soul, there's so many experiences I've had since I've been on the planet, just like we all have. A lot of my journey, of course, as far as healing my life and healing my past so that I can really grow and not pretend that I'm growing, has been to heal my childhood, because so many times we don't realize we're continually creating experiences based on something that maybe worked back then,
Yeah.
but it really doesn't work now. And there's beliefs I created and that I locked in as a child that I carried into my adult life that
Mm.
didn't work, but I kept wondering, why am I creating these same experiences? It's different faces, but I'm experiencing the same thing. I was pointing fingers, right?
Mm.
But that's not what I needed to do. I really needed to say, okay, Nancy, if we know that our beliefs come from our personal experience and our personality, right? I'm the one creating my personal reality. So
Mm.
I had to go back into my childhood and say, okay, what beliefs have I locked in? What
Okay.
happened to me as a kid that is causing me to feel this fear as an adult? I don't even know where it's coming from. I don't know where it's coming from. But in order for me to know where it's coming from, I have to settle myself down. I have to get quiet with myself. I have to pull myself into a space where I can hear Nancy. because I was
Okay.
giving everyone.
Okay, so let me put this to you. So that's we're going to start at the best place, the core of, childhood. It's the best place to
Yes,
start. And it'd be nice if you can take us, because when you're talking and we're speaking quite metaphorically about our journeys,
right,
like so much missing in between
right,
the words. So let's talk
right,
about, what was your childhood like? What do you remember?
right. Well, I know number one, I was raised in a ginormous family. There's 15 of us, 11 girls, 4 boys. I am the baby of 15 children.
Hmm.
Okay. So for me, to have a voice, I had a voice, but I didn't realize I had a voice. And so I never felt like I was heard. I never felt accepted, even in such a ginormous family.
Mm.
I had sisters. There was these three that were together. These two brothers were over here. These sisters were over here. And here's Nancy trying to figure out, where do I fit in? Where
Mm.
can someone accept me? I have a sister that's a year older than me. And so I figured, hey, we can have this little clique, me and you. But she was so busy trying to be accepted by the older sisters that she pushed me away. So I
Okay.
was raised in a big family. However, I was by myself. I felt alone. I didn't feel accepted. I didn't even feel heard. Who are you? So I learned to really pay attention to a lot of things, but acceptance was one of the things that I never in my life, oh, for the life of me, couldn't grasp why. When really I was needing to accept myself, but as a child, I just know that you're rejecting me. That's all I know.
Mm.
I was rejected a lot by my
But
siblings.
what is, I mean, so the rejection came from your siblings, not necessarily your parents, right?
No, no, because
Okay.
there's 15 of us, so my parents were always working
Oh.
just to feed us. So we were raised in a very, I can't say we missed a meal because we didn't. However, we didn't grow up eating the best of everything or
Mm.
dressing, we lived in condemned housing, roach infested homes. Nobody wanted to rent to a man that had at one point 11 children living at home.
Wow. Mm.
And I remember even 9 of us being at home at some point for a very long time. And so
Mm.
nobody wanted to rent to us. Nobody, so it was easy for us to just run around and do us without our parents really, the older ones took care of the younger ones kind of
Mm.
thing.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so, but of course they were doing their little junk, you know what I mean? So they were
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
you can, don't tell, don't tell, don't tell. And so I just was in this space where I didn't feel accepted by my siblings. Our
Mm.
parents, I believe, loved us the best that they could. They provided the best that they could. And they really, it was, we were, my father was very much a family oriented man. So anytime he wasn't working, he was definitely keeping us together. But we were home a lot by ourselves, a
That's the
lot.
generation. So tell me, where would you say, and just for a moment, viewers, welcome, welcome, welcome. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I'm going to get to your
Okay.
comments a little later, and you're not being ignored, but feel free to comment and just, yeah, on whatever you feel
Absolutely.
you want to express, and I'll check your comments shortly. So in regards to the childhood, where would you say trauma began? Was it the rejection that manifested in you, which was the trauma, or was there something more happening?
I went looking for acceptance
Mm.
from men.
Yeah.
Because though my father was there, he wasn't there as often as he probably would have liked to be there
Mm.
because he was trying to feed us.
Mm.
So I stepped out at 13, 14, very, very promiscuous, have already had given my body to grown men, not boys. I started smoking very young, drinking very young. And I didn't know then that that's what I was looking for, but I was looking for somebody to click with, somebody. I need somebody to be my family. I need somebody to say, hey, Nancy, I got you, because I didn't get that from my
I
family.
can resonate with that journey, by the way.
Yeah, and so I was just
The
giving
one,
myself to
yeah,
men.
the one in.
And I wanted. So, I mean, in that space, I was raped because
Mm.
I was so busy wanting to be accepted.
Mm.
Never told anybody about it. It happened in another country because we were bordering Mexico. We lived in San Diego because that's where
Wow.
we were born.
Mm.
So we were partying way too young, went out by club. My siblings shouldn't have been at the club, right? And I couldn't get in, so they sent me home. So I connected with a guy thinking that everything was going to be fun and all that, and I ended up getting raped.
Mm. Mm.
And and so that happened. I never told anyone. I just kept going, okay, well, that wasn't it. That didn't work. And then I started blaming myself, like, well, maybe I'm not lovable. Maybe maybe there's something in me that's just not worthy of receiving it. Because if my own family don't want me, my own family don't want to accept me, then who is going to accept me? So I just kept going. So it was the same thing with friends. Like, I would make friends, but then it was, okay, well, they would get what they could from me and then they would leave. So I was like, well, wow. But I didn't know that as an adult, even now, looking back, I was expecting the treatment. If you
Mm.
hear what I'm saying, my belief had already locked in that I would never be accepted. Does that
Mm.
make sense? So when I
No.
did that, I personally, in my young life, kept creating those experiences. So as I kept going, I met a guy that finally, well, a man, he was a grown man, that finally accepted me at
Mm.
15 years old. Like, he was the first one that ever in my life where I felt I could be myself. I wasn't going to be judged. I was just going to be this is good. He became my best friend. We were all over the place, just
Mm.
everything. I've given myself to him just because it wasn't, I loved his company. He didn't judge me. And it was like, okay, great. And I ended up getting pregnant at 17, had the baby at 18, and our baby died.
Mm.
And 3.5 hours after the baby was born. And so, of course, my thoughts are, okay, this definitely should pull us together.
Mm.
It didn't. It devastated him. It devastated me. And then at that point, I felt rejection from the only person that I had ever felt acceptance from.
Mm.
So I grew really bitter at a time where I felt I needed him. We buried our baby. I went full term with the baby. The baby was
Ooh.
born, and 3.5 hours after he was born, I held him till his heart stopped.
Mm.
And then I had to grieve alone. My best friend wasn't even there. My tribe wasn't there to just take me in. He
Mm.
just flew in the other direction because he had his own issues. He had his own trauma. He had his own pain. And so all I knew is that I was by myself. My family couldn't relate. They were just like, well, I guess, like, if you need anything, that kind of thing. But I buried a child, and still, okay, I was accepted, but then my body didn't do what it needed to do to bring forth a healthy child. So I thought, well, not even my child accepted me.
Mm.
Why? I didn't deserve to be a mom. So then I'm having all these crazy ideas about acceptance and what it takes to be accepted.
Mm.
And that was very painful for me. And that's what shifted me. Probably about age 21, I stepped into the religious space, into
Can
and
I
I
just
say really,
can I cut in just for a moment?
oh,
Because you're
absolutely.
so good by yourself. I love it. I love it. I love it. I find it so. I need to create a moment of relevance from me to
Sure.
you, and that moment
Absolutely.
of relevance will be for me to say, I heard and acknowledged the molestation, and I also heard and acknowledged the loss of your child. And sometimes, we're listening, and it's like we're not supposed to say, but I actually do want to say for the first time that I'm sorry that that happened to you, woman to woman.
Yeah. Oh, thank
No,
you.
it's quite, I can sit here and listen, or I can
Right.
actually on a spiritual sister perspective. And I want to,
Oh, absolutely.
if I
Absolutely.
knew we would have that hug moment, because the reason why I feel you so much is because I have a tattoo right here, side note, and
Right.
you can't see it. You can't see it.
We're all tatted up,
You
girl.
know how you have sorry, you have the note in the bottle that you put the note in and it goes to
Yes.
sleep? It's a note. And why I have that is because I belong everywhere but nowhere.
Oh,
I'm
that's powerful.
But you know what? I imagine Nina Simone saying, well, that's a gift because you can adapt anywhere.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
You can see it as a gift, but I'm resonating with you with the
Yes.
non-belonging and how we can seek that
Yes.
in the wrong environments and what that
Oh,
brings.
absolutely. Yes.
Next another
Yes.
time I can go into you and you can turn the tables on me and talk about me on my show. That may be cool, right?
Right, right, right. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
We definitely got to do that.
But
We got to do that.
because I don't want to go any further about me saying I acknowledge
Sure.
that.
Oh, thank you so
And
much. And you know
I
what?
resonate, even though our stories may be different in different areas, I still resonate that. And you're not alone in it.
Right. Right. I mean, because I mean, if even as a whole, if people have not experienced a loss of a child, they have experienced loss,
Yeah.
period. And everyone's loss is valid.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
pain is valid. It doesn't matter that I didn't experience what you experienced.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
valid. It is your experience. It is your truth. You experienced it. There's nothing I can take from you from that. And so when we expect people to hurry up and heal, hurry up,
Yeah.
let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. And it's like, but I'm hurting. How do I just let it go? Because we don't allow ourselves to really just process the pain because it's wrong, right? That's what it's like. Oh, you should be able to just let it go. But I experienced it. So in our humanity, in
Mm.
our human self, emotions are not bad. We have to stop looking at them like they're bad. They're there to let us know that there's something that we need to
Need to
digest,
do.
process,
So tell
release.
me, so after you lost the baby and the man in question took a step back, what happened to Nancy from that point on?
When I stepped into, I think I jumped directly into a space where I felt that I was going to be accepted, and
That
that was going into.
religion, you said. Okay, let's get
So
into
then,
that.
yeah, so that they became my family. So then it was rules and regulations. Don't do this, do that, do it like this. This is how God will love you. Not they're not saying it like that, but that's how I interpreted it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
God will be pleased if you, and if you do it like this, he will. And if you don't, then, and if it's like this, it might, you know what I mean? And so it was a lot of that. So here I went into action. Oh, right. They're going to accept me. This is all I have to do. Okay, great. At least now I know what I'm supposed to do to be loved and accepted.
Mm.
So I went in, I jumped in full force, feet in, I mean, head, everything submerged, stepped into it,
Wow.
was in it for 20 years in
Oh,
leadership. In
wow.
leadership. It evolved, but in a leadership position at a mega church there. And I'm going into one day. The only way I can say it is I had a crash.
Wow.
I crashed and I burned.
Tell me about the trigger that created the crash. You're in church, you're happy, right?
I'm saying I'm happy because that's what I'm supposed to say as a believer.
Right.
I'm
But
speaking those
what
things
was
that are
really
not.
this process? What was really going on in the midst of your journey of church, and what was going on for you? Let's get into that.
Right. You know, well, mind you, there's a lot of things that I still wasn't healed from, but you know, God forgives and you let it go. And oh, well, you know, and it's okay. You got to speak those things that are not as though they were. So I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. You see what I'm saying? So scripture was used for me to just be okay.
Okay.
You're fine. You're okay. Well, as a leader, you lead and you don't show your wounds. You don't do that because you're leading. Okay, so I covered him up,
Mm.
even though I was still hurting.
Yeah.
And so I just kept going. But as people came to me, and because I was a leader, and I was there, I did hospital visits, I did funerals. The first funeral that
Oh
I that I
wow.
that I did was a baby, mind you.
What did what part did you play during the funeral?
I was there doing the entire service for the funeral of a child,
Oh
of an
wow.
infant. Was my
Okay.
first one, and I sucked everything up and was like, I can do this. I know what to do. I know how
Did
he
that
feels. I
did
know
that
how
have
they feel.
for your own loss of your child? Did that have any effect on you at all?
It allowed me to release more of the pain.
Oh wow, that's
Absolutely.
amazing.
That I Yeah, because I knew what they were going to. I know what where your thoughts are. I understand how you feel. And
Mm.
so that part was good for me. You know, and that's what started my journey even more so to heal myself in that area. So that healing came much quicker than just my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So being in that space as a leader, um, you know, having never healed, you know, from being raped or ever really telling anyone,
Mm-hmm.
because I was raped twice.
Oh,
I was
wait,
the
you
pain. Do not
okay.
disturb on mine.
Say that again. We had a bit of a fizz moment. Let's
Can you
say that
hear
again.
me?
So it happened twice.
Okay.
Was that in
Um,
two different individuals
yeah,
occasions?
yes, it
Yeah.
happened.
Oh,
It was two separate occasions. The second time, I found myself in I was in another state to visit the baby's father because I just was trying to figure out what happened.
mm,
And of course, he didn't know how to deal with me. He was dealing with a lot of pain himself, a
Okay.
lot of trauma, a lot of childhood stuff that he just ignored me the time that I was there. So I was invited out. Actually, I was sold, really. I was handed over to someone for crack, to be honest. I didn't know that till after the fact, but I found myself being carried. I was given a drink, and of course, I thought, okay, it's fine. I started feeling really funny. I was being carried into a basement, and I
Oh,
woke up totally stripped. I mean, in the basement. I was somewhat, I remember, aware of what was happening. I couldn't tell if it was one man, two men, three men. I couldn't tell you. I went from that. I remember just sneaking out of the back door, finding myself my way back barefoot with, I don't know where my panties were. I don't know where my bra was. I don't know where anything was, and found myself back where I was staying at the time. Never said anything to anybody. I ended up going back home. Never said anything to the baby's father either. Went back to San Diego and realized when I got there that after a month or so that I was pregnant from that rape.
mm.
And
So may I ask, when you say you was kind of exchanged for the crack or sold for crack and this happened, that wasn't the baby's father that done that?
no, it was a family member or a friend of a family member that you kept trying to convince me to go out. You're here, you're hanging out, you're visiting, you're not doing anything. He's not paying attention to you. Go
Mm.
ahead. But she was a crackhead, so I probably should have thought about that. And she basically sold me to a drug dealer. I
How,
didn't know he
how,
was
how
that.
young were you?
How I was 19.
Mm.
I was 19. He took me to get my hair done, my nails done. So I'm thinking, this is a good thing. Okay, great. We went to the park. We're hanging out. There's people hanging out. I'm young. I
Yeah.
opened my own wine cooler. Then he brings me the second one, but it was opened. And so
Sorry,
I was like,
repeat
okay.
that. You had the wine cooler, and then what happened?
The first one that I opened, then I was brought another one by him, but this one was
Right.
already opened.
So he
So
put something
something,
in, he spiked your drink.
yes. So I
Mm.
remember just saying to him, okay, I'm feeling weird. I want to go home. And he's like, oh, okay. But he didn't take me home. He took me into somebody's basement. And that's where everything took place. I couldn't tell you how many people. I just know the next day when I got up, I didn't have my clothes on. I was looking for my clothes. And he comes downstairs. He's like, oh, you want breakfast? Did you have a great time? And I was like, yeah, because I'm scared. So I'm just going along with it. Sure. And I see there's a back door. So I'm just
Mm.
like, yeah, it was great. Sure. So he went to go make me a plate and I darted out of the back door, just terrified, no shoes. He just gave me some cutoff shorts of his and a t-shirt that was his. I left my clothes, my shoe, everything. I left everything. I was braless, pantyless. I had who knows what dripping out of me. Like it was a horrible experience. I got to where I was going, showered and cried and never said anything.
So
And
this happened on two occasions. What was it inside of you that made you feel, caused the feeling of, I don't want to tell anyone even for a second time? What was that about for you?
for me, if I really like think about why
Mm.
I want to share it, I I guess maybe I felt I didn't feel worthy already to be accepted and loved already at this point. So for me to say, oh, this happened to me, I felt like I was going to get more of a, well, you probably deserve it,
Okay.
and I already felt that. So why would I want somebody to tell me that?
And as in,
Like,
what about the
they,
police? Telling the police, but that you didn't even, okay.
nope, it didn't cross my mind. I just want to go home at this point. A couple of weeks, I stayed a little bit longer and then I went home and I was there for a month or so. And then I found out I was pregnant. And then that was a whole nother turmoil because mind you, I already had lost a child.
Mm.
And now I was in turmoil about keeping or aborting the one that I was pregnant by because I was raped. And I ended up deciding to get an abortion because I just didn't know what else to do. How am I going to tell them whose child this is and what happened? And I was in pain because I was killing a child, but then I was in pain because what are they going to say? What are they going to? I'm just going to be looked at in such a crazy way. So I just kept it and I bottled it all up inside, and that's all the garbage that I took with me into the religious space and
Mm.
never dealt with for years, for
Mm.
years. And like I said, until the crash, because at this point I'm already married, I have a child. my life feels like it's going great. You know what I mean? I'm sitting, I'm fine, but something's missing. There's something still not right. Like every time I would help other people and I would sit there and I would guide them and counsel and listen and ask the questions and see them get free and see them move forward in their life. Inside of me, I'm like, yes, go, go, go. Just don't be like me. You know, I never said that, but I
So
just wanted freedom.
allow me to ask you,
Sure.
did you become the rescuer for others when you actually really wanted to be rescued? And
Absolutely.
I'm going to take a moment while I'm going to share this with the viewers as well. I've done different shows, different people also talking about the
Absolutely.
codependency and the rescuer that longs to be rescued.
Oh
And
yeah.
I can resonate because I used to be that way a lot growing up, where
Absolutely.
you always want to be the person that's there because really you want to know what it's like for someone to be there for you. So you are almost can be
Absolutely.
codependent of being a rescuer. Whether
Oh
you
yeah.
are a counselor, which is my major, whether you are a counselor, social worker, support worker of any sort, a lot of, especially social workers for foster carers, you will notice that a lot of them have a story of, I wanted to be loved, and that's why I'm doing this, or I wanted to be accepted.
Absolutely.
So helpers tend to really want the help or want to
Yes.
have that validation of
Yeah.
loved, taken care of. And when I looked at
Yes.
that from young, I took a big step back with, I'm always there for people if I need to be, of course, but
Hmm.
I'm no longer wanting to be a rescuer because that comes with a whole other set of, it's like
It
being an
does.
empath. Being an empath is now a trend, right? But you
Right.
are taking on so much unnecessary energy flow from other people
Oh, absolutely.
unless you know how to refilter that stuff. But I just wanted to ask you that whether that's what it was. You became
Oh,
the rescuer who
abs
was longing to be rescued, and that's what it was for you.
and absolutely. And even people like you're saying, counselors, they're people that are a lot of times in that space tend to come from that. That's their story. They're like, I don't want someone else to feel like I felt. So
Yeah.
you're there to the point, uh, to your own hurt, like you don't even care how you're denying yourself and not helping yourself
Oh my goodness.
because you
Yeah.
just don't want others to feel that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I realized when I had my crash in that space, I felt just like such a fraud. We have that whole, I'm not real. I'm just, oh God, like I've been so fake and so this and so that because there was so much that I hadn't expressed or healed from. And I'm like, where's this coming from? So I was like, I'm just not an authentic person. Like, what's going on? And it wasn't that I wasn't authentic because I genuinely believe I love helping people.
Mhm.
That's the space
Of
that we're
course.
in,
Of
right?
course.
As people that empower others, we have to keep ourselves in the process though. And so what I realized is that I just wasn't healed. I
So
wasn't healed.
tell me what it was like. Thank you, viewers. Keep it coming. We're going to take a moment shortly, and I'm going to look at all of you guys and also the couple of comments that you shared. So before we do that, tell me the lead up from the second um, abuse, basically the rape,
Right.
and
Mhm.
where you had the termination. What happened next that led up to the crash? Let's get into that.
Well, honestly, it was just years of not dealing with myself, with my own pain. So holding all of that through my life and continually, even in the religious space, experiencing being used, right? People just getting what they want and running.
Mm.
And why am I continually feeling like this? So here I am, my marriage is falling apart. Our finances are falling apart. We're about to lose our home. My children are acting crazy. Everything seems to be, but it's like this space that I'm in where God is supposed to
So
step
you
in.
had children. You never
This,
had.
this, yes, I have a 25-year-old.
I mean,
And
so you had the two. You had the termination. This happened, but then you had no children at that point. No more children.
right. So in the no, I had my son. So
Oh,
after the loss of my first son, I had another child. So in this
okay.
process, I have a son. I have a son, and I'm doing life. I got married, and it was really just of whatever, this man loves me, I'll take it.
Mm.
I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest with you.
yeah,
My dad likes him. My family loves him. Okay, sounds like a great deal to me.
yeah.
And stepped into this almost this business. thing going on, and stepped into the religious space and having this thing where it's like, but my relationship is not working. There's no connection. There's just sex.
Yeah.
There's what I feel
But Nancy,
used.
was it good though?
Oh yeah, it was good because I probably would have been gone, but probably would have been gone.
Good.
but
Okay.
but when I tell you, it was just there was no communication. So now the person that I should be able to run home to,
Hmm.
there's no connection.
Nothing.
So I'm still by myself. Why am I by myself still?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
can I connect to someone? Why can't someone, just connect with me in a way so that I can share and be there for them and and it just wasn't working. And
Mm.
so I thought, okay, this religious thing isn't working for me anymore. I don't know who God is. I don't care. I don't, like everything. Like I threw it completely out the window.
Yeah.
It felt that way,
Mm.
my beliefs. And I kept saying to myself, you know what? I don't believe anything. Nothing has worked. I don't believe it. But then I believe everything because now I was like, I believe nothing, but I believe everything because anything can happen. And so
Yeah.
I pulled back and I just cried out because I know there is a universal God.
Yeah.
To me, there is a God source. There
Mhm.
is a oneness about the universe. So all I did was pull back and I let all those beliefs go. I let religion go. And I said, okay, universe. Okay, source. You show me.
Mm.
Show me where the areas in my life. Show me. You guide me. I don't want to deal with man. At the moment, I was just in this. When I tell you, I was in fetal positions in my room, just
Mm.
crying, discovering things about myself and beliefs that I had that no longer were serving me. And
Mm.
little by little, as I wept and allowed myself to feel the
Mhm.
emotion from the experience, because emotion and feeling is totally different.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
allowed I allowed the feelings to come that were connected to that emotion from that experience that was
Mm.
locked in my body. And I began to just say, Nancy, it's okay. Breathe. It's okay to
Mm.
let it go. That's not who you are. You are loved. I had to tell myself this until I believed it.
Mm.
And I said it to myself more and more. The joy came, the peace came, the
Mm.
love of self came. The no, I don't have time to do that until I do this. No, I won't give myself to that
Let
until I
me
do
ask
this.
you, allow me to ask you, so at what
Sure.
point did your family, when did you notify them of this experience? Because now, obviously, your friends and your family know, right? At this point,
Yeah,
that you seem like
yeah,
you positive it. So, at what point did you tell them that this happened, and who did you tell first?
just my experiences. You're talking about just the rapes and the stuff, or
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
experience, the crash. Well, honestly, I have as an adult, my relationship with my siblings got better. So I shared tidbits here and there throughout the years, but still wasn't healed. But when this experience happened, it's so funny because a couple of my sisters, we were all on the same journey. We hadn't connected for a few months, hadn't talked. And when we reconnected and started having conversation, we're like, what's up with you? What's up with you? And before you knew, we were all on the same spiritual journey because we all had stepped into the religious space.
But did you, what I'm trying to ask also is, at what point did you tell your parents and your siblings that
Well,
you were raped twice and this happened and the baby? When did you tell them?
the rapes, my parents never knew because they're both deceased.
Okay, so
My my
they went not knowing.
Yeah, and my siblings over the years and conversations and little powwows we've had because we've spent time together, we've cried, we've
Mm.
discussed our experiences. So over the years, I've shared those experiences. But the crash in terms of really healing my childhood in the acceptance piece and the learning to really put myself first,
Mm.
that's where we realized, okay, we all kind of had stepped out of the religious space at the same time and didn't realize we did until we connected, which was really neat because we were kind of vibing in the same space, I guess, and so
So
we all
with
had to
that,
come
then you
together.
guys walked away from religion and became more spiritual based. Yeah, let's talk about
Yes.
spirituality now. Then,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. I love it. And it's just such a free flowing space. I love your channel because I'm like, I love that
You love
because
it?
that's
Say it again. Say it again.
exactly, I love it. I
All
love
right.
it
Good. Good.
because that's what
Good.
it is. It's freeing. Spirituality is not bondage.
Yeah.
Spirituality is free to be who you showed up on the planet to be. It's like my friend says, you know, if you don't show up for your life, no one else will. No one else will.
And it's individual. Spirituality is an individual journey. Like what works for you may not be for me.
Absolutely. And you know, absolutely. And we can have the same experience, right? But process it differently, and our journey still be very different in terms of the path that we're taking, because what I showed up here to do may be different than what you showed up to do. Not only that, we're here to touch and connect with certain people. I'm not here to touch the entire planet, but I know I'm here to connect and resonate with certain people. And that's okay.
Me too. But let me ask you then, so have you thrown away the whole religion? How do you feel about religion now? If you brief me on that.
Honestly, I don't look at it as a negative. It served a purpose. It was part of my evolving. So I love it. I'm still very connected in that space. I have no judgment. It served a purpose. It helped me believe. It helped me hope. It helped me reach for more. It was part of my spiritual walk. You know what I'm saying? But there was more. Okay, what else can I do? And I had to like step away from the fear of even being rejected by my family of people. And when I stepped out, it was just that. There were no calls, nobody checked on me, nobody. As much as I was involved in church, you would have thought I would have got a phone call the next day.
Wow.
I was out of church for 6 months, and not one phone call, not a text, not how are you doing, not a message, nothing. There was a couple of people that maybe messaged me because they were concerned that I was going into the new age space and that I'm backsliding and that I've fallen away from the faith. And all I said was, I am more free than I've ever been in my life. Thank you for your concern.
So let me ask you, we touched upon the crash and burn part of your journey. For those who've just joined, welcome. We are with Nancy Mannings. We're talking about, within the healing space, we're touching on trauma, betrayal, heartache, loss, spirituality, and how it all plays a part on now. We're still in that space of spirituality, transitioning from religion to being practicing spirituality. So when you say crash and burn, what was that? Can you elaborate? Was that a breakdown, emotional breakdown? What was the crash and burn?
It was, honestly, I felt a sense, I don't say mental because I was very clear about what I was processing. All I knew is I was tired of pretending that I was okay. I'm not okay. As a leader, I'm not okay. I have wounds. I'm hurting. I have pain. And guess what? I'm still helping people, and it doesn't take away from the work that I do, because that's the first judgment people have. Well, if you're doing this, why are you doing that? Well, because I'm a human. How about that? And guess what? That's part of my journey. And so many times we judge like we don't have experiences. What validates us in the empowerment space is that we are human. We're human.
I think I can relate to that a bit. It's like when I was studying therapy, I chose to take forever time off, because with me though, I needed to be congruent. Where for an example, there's so many people wanting to be life coaches, and they don't even know themselves. How can you be a life coach when you're not solid in yourself? So for an example, they're human, but I can clearly see that they need to get to know themselves, be solid, on their own. Right. So I felt like for me, therapists are going to have their own problems, of course, whether you are a doctor, whether you're a lawyer, but there has to be a place where you are solid enough to be a practitioner.
I agree with you, and I feel that the solid space to me, from my understanding and my personal experience, came when I decided to just be who I am.
Right.
Because, and to say, okay, I want to be organically authentic.
Right.
Meaning, I think I shared, like, if I have 2 avocados and I offer you an organic avocado or just an avocado, they're both avocados. Like, I am an avocado. However, if I give myself to you as an organic Nancy, healed, right, from a lot of her trauma, a lot of her pain, you're going to be more nourished from what I give to you.
Absolutely.
What I give to you is going to be healthier.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that this isn't going to be good and it wouldn't work for you. However, this is healthier. So I think that in the space that we're in, we have to understand that we got to just get ourselves in a healthy space and stay in the process of continually checking in with ourselves, understanding when to pull ourselves into solitude so that we're not pushed into isolation,
Absolutely. And I think
because it's
also
different.
it's knowing when to take a step back though. For
Yes,
example, if somebody was a doctor and you are not right vibrationally to a point where you can really do no good to anyone because you need that time off yourself,
right.
we got to know when to say no
Oh, that's so good.
and
That's
take
what
a
I'm
step
talking
back.
about.
I'm big on soul care.
Yes, and you
I'm
know
big on
that's
soul care, you know?
And, and that's the whole idea of solitude and isolation. Solitude is a willing, we are listening to the soul space, we're listening to the heart, we're paying attention vibrationally what's happening with us, because our body's continually speaking to us, the soul is continually speaking. So if we listen and pay attention to our soul man, the part of us is telling us something is not right, we can pull ourselves into solitude willingly and go through a process of releasing
Absolutely.
whatever's coming up, instead of waiting till everything's falling apart, right? And we're shoved into isolation. Because now, at this point, when we're shoved into isolation, that means we don't know we're sick. We don't know who we're affecting. We don't know who we're damaging. We're
Mm-hmm.
so sick that we don't even know how to pull ourselves out. So now we're pushed into, we're being forced
Mm-hmm.
into isolation. Well, now in the space that I'm in, I understand solitude. So I know when to pull back.
Solitude and silence, and knowing when to say no. And the
Yes,
fourth one I would say is when you do not do that, or you're going through something and you're not aware of your own vibrational frequencies, you
yes.
overspill and bleed on other people.
Oh,
So we
that is
have
so
to know
true.
when to have the first aid kit spiritually.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, I got a big old box.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
What do I need today? Band-aids? Do I need prayer? Do I need meditation? Do I need
Right.
a week
Absolutely.
of work? Do I need to say no to friends and family? That's all a part of our soul care, because some
Oh,
people are not
absolutely.
aware when they bleed on other people.
Oh, God, that is so very true.
I mean,
Um,
I'm out on you. I'm overspilling rather than
yes,
deal with myself. But okay,
yes.
take a moment, have your little refreshments or whatever it is. I'm going to check out a couple of comments in the section.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Look, I
Let you
have some
know,
tea right here that
to
I
let you
was
know,
sipping
Instagram
on.
gives us an hour at a time. And
Awesome.
we want to go over shortly by like 9 o'clock. We'll click off and we can come back and continue.
Okay, that sounds
Yeah.
good.
So let me put on my
Sure.
10 eyes.
Oh, you are cute, girl.
Mm?
I said, you are cute. Look at you. I love your hat. I'm a hat person. You a
Are
hat person?
you? Thank
I love
you.
hats, caps, and everything.
I'm
Yes, I love
obsessed
them.
with hats. I'm obsessed.
That's awesome.
Hi everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those who are still on here, not on here. Hi Chi. Let me see. Okay. Morris 17 Mills says Nancy Manning is my hero. Is one of my heroes. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
And Chi, are you still here, Chi Chi? If you are, thank you. Hi, Elaine. Hey, neighbor. So Chi says, I hear that big time, as I've seen, as okay, so cool, black sheep of the family. Yeah, 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 yeah. And hi, Elaine, how you doing? Okay, so Nancy, where are we?
Where are we? Where you want to go,
So
girl?
what happened next?
That's when I took time for myself. It took
Mhm.
me being shoved into isolation. That's what I was saying. I was shoved into it because there was so much personally happening to me, and so many things so suppressed in my person from my childhood that I still hadn't dealt with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I was like, okay, I can't. Before you know it, I found myself in the hills of North Carolina. My
Wow.
pastor actually sent me off. She did send me off because I kind of did my crash and burn at her house. I just fell apart.
Wow. Okay.
And she sent me off to a retreat, and I was there for 3 days, 4 days. I didn't sleep for 2 nights straight, and it
Wow.
was it was awful for me because I was so used to doing and helping and going and just keep going, that I was up, and the house was spotless. It was a beautiful house in the mountains, and I'm in North Carolina. I'm trying to find something to do so that I don't have to focus on me.
Right.
And I'm trying to, okay, let me go in the kitchen and see if I can clean, spotless. Let me look at some cabinets. I'm tiptoeing through the house, maybe I can fold something, spotless.
So
Everything's
what did
clean.
you achieve? What did you personally feel the journey of the retreat done or not done for you? Let's get into that part.
Oh, let me tell you what it did do. It opened me up. And I felt that honestly, I left there with
Mm.
a bunch of open wounds with not knowing what to do next.
Oh wow.
Because I came back and the first thing that was said walking in the door was, "What are you cooking for dinner?"
And this was from your husband at the time, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, that's interesting, right? So I just I closed it up and I said, I'm just gonna deal with myself one day at a time. And
Yeah.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
And then I realized it wasn't my husband. It's not his responsibility to keep me happy. It wasn't when kids
Right.
are acting
Right.
up. Nancy, you got to deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
This offense over here, first of all, if I get offended, it's a me thing. It's never another person's issue. If I get offended, it has everything to do with me having a point of reference to be offended.
Yeah.
Love is not easily offended. And so
No.
it was my love walk, loving myself. There was things broken, I guess people use that word, but broken in me that I needed to heal from.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I needed to allow myself and extend the same grace that I had extended to so many people to heal
Mm-hmm.
for myself. So 2 years, I stayed with me. I did nothing. I pulled back from every board I was on and everything that I was a part of. I just pulled away from everything and healed Nancy from those
Okay,
traumas and
so
those
how let's get
experiences.
into that. So you left the retreat, you went home, and you had the demands placed back on you just to carry on as usual. Did your husband at the time know about your traumas?
He had it heard because it threw over conversation, absolutely, but we never had really deep conversations, and that was kind of part of the issue. I wanted to have conversation and talk about deep things, and he just wasn't interested. You know what I'm saying? Just to be honest. And so it was difficult. It was difficult for me, to be honest, to not be able to say, hey, I'm hurting. It was more of a, let me just stay over here in the corner and get out of her
Mm.
way because I don't know what to do.
Mm.
And it
So
wasn't that he
how long
needed,
did that marriage last for?
actually, I'm in that marriage still,
Oh, girl.
legally, right? So
I almost didn't say that line but then I thought I almost didn't say that, because it's very presumptuous. But I thought by what you're saying, there's no way.
oh, this is the beautiful thing, is that regardless of all my experience within my marriage relationship, when I got to Nancy, I realized that the only reason things weren't going good was because Nancy wasn't good.
Okay, so he was fine.
He has his own stuff. You
Of
get what I'm
course.
saying? But what I needed to do is not lean on him for my happiness,
Yeah.
not lean on him. Do I have to have this connection? I ain't connected with myself. Why am I asking you to connect with me? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So it was
Mm-hmm.
just like, if I'm asking you to love me in this certain way, but I don't love myself.
Mm-hmm.
How can you know what I mean? So how can I expect you to do that's something I will never do that again. I will never give someone that power
Power.
to create
Mm-hmm.
any source of happiness in my life, any type of peace. That is all my responsibility.
Absolutely.
Healing my life. It doesn't matter what he would say, even today. If something bothers me, I deal with Nancy and then I'm good. Because I'm not going to give you the power. I mean, you're not going to go about your day and control my life
Mm-hmm.
because I'm choosing to hold on to something because you did something. How about I just deal with myself, deal with why did it bother me? I can, yes, address it, but you're not going to control me in terms of how I'm going to feel and what's going to happen next in my life.
Okay. So on that note, how about the second half of this discussion? We click off and click back on, and you can talk us through how you became the transitional life coach. So from the
Absolutely.
trauma to the journey of the healing. How about that?
Yes, absolutely. We could do that.
Yeah? Okay,
Absolutely.
so
Yep.
guys, please join us back in the next 2 minutes. I'm going to pin this, post this, and come straight back.
Awesome.
Okay?
Awesome. Sounds
Thank
good.
you. See you shortly. All right.
Awesome.